Hello everyone, good evening, welcome to Chandu Biology Classes. So, we will just continue our discussion on directive principles of state policy. So, in the previous class we discussed about the meaning of directive principles of state policy and its significance. So, what are all the things that we discussed? We discussed the directive principles of state policy, but they are borrowed from Irish constitution. They are nothing but the recommendations. Directives means what? It is nothing but the recommendations to the state in the matters of legislative, executive and administrative matters. And also I told it was already in the
Very easy.
okay, this instrument of accession, make some correction, it is instrument of instructions. So, okay, instructions given to the state, okay, that is nothing but instrument of instructions that is given to the state, okay, instrument of instructions, and it represents the needs of the community. It represents the needs of the community. And I also told you directive principles of state policy are fundamental in the governance of the country. They are fundamental in the governance of the country. Also, I also told you it helps us in achieving the higher objectives of what? Justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. Justice, liberty, equality and fraternity, and it was present in the Government of India Act. What is that? Government of India Act 1935 as instrument of instruction. Instrument of instruction. And also I told you it helps us in achieving social justice, economic justice and also political justice. But mainly it focuses on achieving social justice and economic justice. Through that it tries to establish social and economic democracy, while on the other hand fundamental tries to establish political democracy. All these things we discussed. Also we discussed the difference between fundamental rights and also directive principles of state policy. Fundamental rights are negative in its nature, that is it says state what not to do, but directive principle says what to do, okay, what the state should do. And as per that we learned some articles. We learned from article 36 to 43b. We learned from article 36 to 43b, and also I told there is some classification of DPSPs. DPSPs are classified into how many ways? 3 ways. One is socialistic principles, liberal principles, another one is intellectual and liberal principles. Okay, socialistic, Gandhian and intellectual and liberal principles. And directive principles of state policy, they have also been amended. Today we will learn what are those amendments. What are those amendments? What are the various articles that are added to DPSPs through amendments. Alright, so let us start now our discussion. So, we have done the meaning of DPSP, constitutional provisions. Also, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar called this as what? Called this as the novel features of the constitution. And also Granville Austin called this as what? DPSP and also direct fundamental rights. DPSPs and fundamental rights as the conscience of the constitution. Conscience of the constitution is what? DPSP and also fundamental rights. You can expect a question on that. They can ask which of the following is the conscience of the constitution? It is fundamental rights and DPSP. Okay. Fundamental rights and DPSP. Conscience of the constitution. Also we discussed that fundamental rights are justifiable. Preamble is also non-justifiable. Okay, but when it comes to DPSP, they are also non-justifiable. That means you cannot approach the court for their enforcement. Also, I will tell you today why it is non-justifiable. Okay, why it is not justifiable. Alright, so we discussed 36 to 39 in such a way that first one of your friend will come, he will say that DPSPs are defined, okay, they have been applied, so there will be welfare. But I will say that although they are applied or welfare is there, but it should be followed by the state, and also only then there will be legal and equal justice. Then from 40 to 43b, okay, to remember that we learnt about the pandemic. During the pandemic there will be pain for the people, where there will be migrant workers traveling from one place to their own place, okay, from outside place to their own place. When they go back to their own place, they will not have work. So what will happen? The people of the village will organize the village panchayat, that is article 40. Then what they will do? They will demand work and public assistance. Work means it should also be humane, that is condition of work should be humane conditions of work. After that there should be living wages, just not the work, you should give some living wages so that they can sustain themselves. Also along with living wages, okay, what kind of work should be given? That is there should be participation of workers in the management of industries and also formation of cooperative societies. Till here we learned, that is article 40, 41, 42, 43 and also 43b. Okay, 43a and 43b. Now we will discuss the remaining articles. Very important articles, article 44 to 48A, article 44 to 48A. Now we are talking about article 44, talking about uniform civil code. Okay, uniform civil code for the citizens. Uniform, the word uniform itself says everything should be similar. That is, suppose when you are going to school, you are given uniform. That means what? You are all wearing same type of clothes, not same, almost exact type of clothes. Correct? No, you are wearing same color dress. That is the meaning of uniform. Similarly, uniform civil code, what does it mean? So suppose we have different religions. Suppose let us take major religions. When we talk about our country, we have something called Hindus, Muslims and Christians. They have their own personal laws. Personal laws. I am telling about not laws, laws. Personal laws. This also have their own personal laws, and this also have their own personal laws. What are those personal laws related to? Their personal laws are mainly related to marriage. Another one is divorce. Marriage means there will be divorce also. Marriage, divorce, and also when it comes to property matters, and also when it comes to succession of property. Okay, succession of property or whatever. Okay, succession of property or whatever. So when we talk about marriage, divorce, okay, property matters, and how to acquire the parents' property, all these things, we have personal laws. Okay, different personal laws. Hindus have different personal law, Muslims have different personal laws, and Christians have different personal laws. But as per the constitution, some of these personal laws are violating the fundamental feature of equality. It is against gender, it is against certain gender. For example, we are talking about women empowerment, but these personal laws are against the women's equality. Okay, suppose for example, there was something called for Muslims. Okay, in Muslim personal laws we had something called talaq. If they say talaq 3 times, it was called a divorce. So that was made what? Unconstitutional. Okay, that was made unconstitutional. So that is removed. Okay, that is what? It is removed. So such personal laws, some personal laws are derogatory or against the human rights. So such personal laws should not be there. So what the state is saying is, in the original constitution itself, it is not any amendment. In the original constitution itself, they were saying that uniform civil code for the citizens, so that every citizen is governed by a single law. That means make this personal laws, all the personal laws same. That means there should same means what? There should be no personal laws. There should be one single law which is governing all the religions. That is the meaning of uniform civil code. That is the meaning of uniform civil code. Understood? Oh, okay. No personal laws for Hindus, no personal laws for Muslims, no personal laws for Christians. Make it single law where every religion is governed. That is the meaning of what? That is the meaning of uniform civil code. Uniform civil code for citizens. Okay. There is a lot of debate. There are so many people who are in favor of uniform civil code, and there are so many people who are against uniform civil code. Got it? Now, when I say what the state is thinking is, suppose in each of these personal laws, you have to, if you modernize as per the constitutional principles, then if you modernize this one, if you modernize this personal law, if you modernize this personal law, actually they will become equal. Modernize in the sense, what are all the laws that are against the some sections of the society, which is against the human rights, remove it. Okay, make the laws progressive, then ultimately it will become a modernized personal law. So all laws will become equal. That is one suggestion that is given, but that is not required for you. But you should understand uniform civil code means what. Got it? It is related to personal laws. Okay, there should be no personal laws. There should be a single personal law or single law governing the personal relations of people of all the religions. That is the meaning of uniform civil code. It is present in article 44. Got it? Now, I told you in article 21A, there is something called right to education from 6 to 14 years of age, but it is not talking about 0 to 6 years. So 0 to 6 years is spoken in article 45. So provision of early childhood care and education to children below age of 6 years. Here already actually this was from 0 to 14 years. From 6 to 14 years it was removed and put in fundamental rights in article 21A, that is Right to Education Act. But the remaining 0 to 6 years is present in DPSP itself. So 0 to 6 years early childhood care in terms of their health and also education is present in DPSP, that is article 45. Next, coming to 46, promotion of educational and economic interest of SC, ST and other weaker section. That is, make a law such that the educational interest of SC, ST are taken care, and also economic interest of SC, ST are taken care, and also other weaker sections. Other weaker sections can be what? They can be other backward classes. Other backward classes. There are many backward classes apart from SC, ST. So you have to take the interest, that is, make laws such that there is the promotion of education interests of SC, ST and other backward classes, and also economic interest. So that means what? You are talking about education, economic interest in terms of their job, okay, in terms of their economic opportunities. That is the meaning of Article 46. Got it? So 46 is talking about SC, ST and other backward classes in terms of what? Education and also economic interest. Education and also economic interest. As per that, make a law. So for this, the state government, that is the state governments also, even the central government also has made so many laws giving provision for SC, ST and also other backward classes. Got it? Now that's why in state governments also, suppose you write EAP set or something exam, you will have reservations for SC, ST also, other backward classes, that is BCA, BCB, BCC, BCD, like that. Okay. So why it is given? To promote other backward classes and also SC, ST. Why? To ensure that there is equity. In the previous class itself I told you the difference between equality and equity, and reservation is based on what? Equity, not equality. Okay. Equality doesn't ensure justice, but equity ensures justice. Okay. Reservation is based on equity. Got it? Now 47. It is the duty of the state to raise the level of nutrition and the standard of living and to improve public health. Okay. It is a duty of the state. It is a moral duty of the state, means what? Government, to increase the level of nutrition and also the standard of living and to improve public health. So the level of nutrition means what? Why? Because suppose maternal mortality rate, okay, neonatal maternity rate, okay, all these things should reduce. That is, the number of deaths of children below 1 year of age, that should reduce. Okay, number of deaths of mother during pregnancy or something, for that is per 1000, not 1000, that is per lakh, that should also reduce. That is the meaning of MMR. Okay, infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate, all these things should reduce. Okay, and number of non-communicable diseases. Okay, communicable diseases, that is a different thing. Non-communicable diseases like diabetes, tuberculosis, making India TB free, making India polio free. Okay, actually we are polio free. Okay, all these things are the duty of the state. So that's why they carry out what? Vaccination drive. Vaccination drive they carry out. Okay, so for example, there are so many diseases which can be prevented through vaccines. So that's why that is the duty of the state to raise the level of nutrition and the standard of living and to improve public health. Suppose if the health and nutrition is given to the students or the children at the earlier age, if health is good, they will be, their cognitive development will be good and their physical development will be good. Because of that, they can study better and they can get the proper education. Because of that, they can get proper jobs. Okay, so from the beginning itself, the state has to focus, not just giving reservation at this age. From the beginning also, the state has to focus in an individual's life. From the beginning till the end, the state has to make sure that it is protecting and providing opportunities to the people. That is the duty of directive principles of state policy. So that is what 47 is talking about. 46 is talking about education and economic interest. 47 is talking about what? Health, that is nutrition and standard of living and public health. Okay, that is why you can see the schemes like Ayushman Bharat, why it has to bring out? Because of Article 47. Okay, that is the meaning of National Health Mission. All these things are brought out because of Article 47. Next, 48, Organization of Agriculture and Animal Husbandry. Organization of Agriculture and Animal Husbandry. Because of this, we have separate ministry, that is Ministry of Agriculture, okay, Fisheries, Animal Husbandry, we have separate this thing. Apart from agriculture, we have something allied sectors which you already know, like dairy, fishery, all these things, livestock farming, all these things. So that is also one of this thing, because you know that India is an agriculture dependent country. Maximum people carry out agriculture. Although its contribution to GDP is less, people employed in agriculture is more and people dependent on agriculture is very much more. So that's why Organization of Agriculture and Animal Husbandry is given in Article 48. Understand one thing, this DPSP came into force when? In the original constitution. At that time, we were not having like artificial intelligence or something. That time we were still a poor country. That is, we were coming out of the clutches of the British rule. Okay, we had taken all of our wealth. At that time, we had to develop ourselves. At that time, main focus of us was agriculture and animal husbandry. That's why Article 48. Now 48A, okay, protection and improvement of environment and safeguarding of forest and wildlife. Okay, Article 48A is subclause under 48. Okay, 48 is about talking about agriculture and animal husbandry, but 48A is talking about what? Of course, you have to focus on agriculture and animal husbandry, but at the same time, please protect environment, forest and wildlife. That's why the government enforced what? First of all, in 1927, before the independence itself, there was what? The Forest Act was there. Okay, in 1972, what was the act that is enforced? That is Wildlife Protection Act. That is Wildlife Protection Act. Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Next, what is the act? Environment Protection Act. Environment Protection Act 1986. Before that, there was 1980 Forest Conservation Act. Forest Conservation Act. Forest Conservation Act is 1986. Now, 2002 we had what? Biodiversity Conservation Act. Biodiversity Act. Biodiversity Conservation Act or Biodiversity Act in 2002. So, these are all the acts that was passed to enforce what? Article 48. Okay, please wake up and listen to the class, because 48 and 48A are related, because agriculture and animal husbandry, and 48A is talking about environment. Got it? So, that is the meaning of this. Clear? So, you should understand how these articles are enforced. What are the laws? Okay, we will study that also, but here only I am telling you so that you understand it in brief way. Got it? So, 48A is very important. Okay, protection of environment is given in which article? So, right to environment is Article 21. Right to clean environment is Article 21. Protection of environment is 48A. Don't get confused. Okay, right to environment is under right to life. That is Article 21. But protection of environment is, it is the duty of the state. Okay, it is 48A. That doesn't mean that it is a duty of the state. You can go and cut trees. You can put fire to the forest. It's not like that. Okay, it is duty of everyone. Okay, if you try like that, you will be put to jail. Okay, now the forest laws are very rigid, that you can be imprisoned for a long time. Okay, this is about Article 44 to 48. Now, let us see the trick to remember this. Let us see the trick to remember this. Actually, you don't need the trick. Without trick also you can remember. Okay, 44 is Uniform Civil Code. 45 is talking about what? Children, early childhood care. After early childhood care, it is talking about education and economic interest of SC, ST and other backward classes. After education, it is talking about nutrition and health. Okay, public health. That is Article 47. Article 48 is animal husbandry and agriculture. 48A is environment. That's it. Now, let us continue our story. So, people have come. The migrant workers have come. So, for them we have given job. All these things are done. Next, so there will be some conflict among the people. Okay, there will be some kind of conflict among the people, because there is work is given. So, some people will be earning more, some people will be earning less. That equality is inevitable. So, to ensure that there will be no conflict, there should be uniform civil code. Uniform civil code. Apart from that, the migrant workers who have come back, they will have children. Okay, migrant workers, before coming to their own village, they had gone to some other place. Okay, there their children were given education. Now, when they come back, they should be again given education. Correct? No, they should be again given education. So, children education should also be taken care. Okay, apart from that, among the migrant workers, majority of them will be SC, ST, other weaker sections of, okay, other weaker section will be there. For them also you should give education and also economic interest. First thing is Uniform Civil Code, then children education, and among that please focus on SC, ST and other weaker section in terms of what? Education and economic interest. Next, when it comes to those people who have come back, they are migrant workers, so their health will be spoiled, because they are hard working and all these things. So, you at least take care of their children from early childhood. So, early childhood care and nutrition and health. That is talking about nutrition and health here. Okay, 47 is nutrition and health. Education and health is second. Okay, actually children education and health, early childhood care is this one. Okay, this one is nutrition and health. This is agriculture and animal husbandry. Okay, those people who come, not just manage the interstitial cooperative societies, involve them in agriculture, involve them in animal husbandry. Okay, let them rear the sheep or goats. Okay, so that they can eat meat more. Okay, like mutton, chicken or whatever you want. Okay, whichever you like. Next is, that doesn't mean that you can go and cut everything in the forest. Please save environment also, and forest and wildlife. Okay, forest and wildlife. Got it? That is the meaning of these articles. So, story continues. So, there should be no conflict. Let it be Uniform Civil Code. Let there be children education, and please take care of SC, ST and their education and economic interest. Then nutrition and public health. Please employ them in agriculture and also animal husbandry and environment. That's it. Got it? This is what? Article 44 to 48A. Now there are only 3 articles that are left. Okay. Now I spoke about 2 persons, then we spoke about the community of migrant workers. Now let us go a little higher. We spoke about 2 people, then we spoke about a community, then let us go a little higher. That is, let us talk about the national level, then let us talk about the international level. At the national level, what it should be done, we will see. So we will see about article 48 to 51. is done. 49 to 51. See here, focus, very important articles. Article 50 has been asked multiple times. Okay, Article 50 has been asked multiple times. So please focus. So it is the duty of the state to protect the monuments. Some monuments are very important, like Red Fort. Okay, Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal is one of the 7 wonders. Okay, is considered, but actually there is lot of rusting that is taking place, lot of decoloration that is taking place because of the pollution of the river Ganga. Okay, pollution of the river Ganga, and also because of some acid reactions and all these things, acid rain, okay, sulfur dioxide, all these things. Okay, next is production of monuments and places and objects of national importance. Production of monument, places and objects of national importance. For example, we have something called Statue of Unity, that is Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's statue that is there present in Gujarat. Okay, please protect that. Objects of national importance, like that we have so many these statues. Okay, statues, monuments, all these things. Here one of our monument is Charminar, that is also is of national importance. Okay, Charminar, so many objects, monuments like that. So we have so many temples, so many churches. Okay, for example, in Goa we have one very famous church. Okay, that Saint, what is that? Saint George, Saint Francis Xavier Church, that is a church. Okay, and like that we have so many temples, like our Tirumala temple. Okay, so many temples are there. So all those are national importance. All those are national importance. You have to protect that. So that is the duty of the state. So protection of monuments, places, and objects of national importance. Okay. Apart from this, when the law is being executed, judiciary should not keep on interfering. Okay, judiciary should not keep on interfering, or executive should not interfere in the judiciary. That is executive. That is the minister should not say, please give the judgment like this. They should not influence the judge. So that they are separated. Okay, judiciary, you please do your duty, executive, you do your duty. So that national interest is at top. Okay, so that the nation is served better, please separate judiciary and executive. Understood? Judges should be separate from the people who are executing the laws. If judges are mingled with people who are executing the laws, what will happen? Nobody will check the type of the way the laws are being implemented. Even if they do corruption, nobody will cross question them. That's why please separate judiciary from executive. Judiciary means it's talking about court and judges. Executive means it is the ministers. Okay, they will be implementing the laws, all these things. Next, apart from national thing, we spoke about national, but at the international level also there should be some harmony, because we are dependent on other nations. Other nations are dependent on us because of trade or so many things. Okay, we get lot of weapons and ammunitions from various nations. We also send. Okay, lot of, for example, rice is being sent to various countries, or wheat is being sent to various countries, or milk is also being sent to various countries. Okay, pulses, we produce a lot, but we also consume a lot, pulses. Oil seed, we are dependent on other countries. We produce, but still we are dependent on other countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, all these countries. So there should be harmony at the international level. At the same time, at the border areas, there should be lot of peace and security. There should not be crossfire between two nations. There should be no ceasefire violations. So promotion of international peace and security is Article 51. So that is to ensure that there is international peace and security, the government has to ensure that certain laws are being followed, so that there should be international peace and security. You cannot say that anytime you want to go and fight with any other nation. You shouldn't say that. So that's why there should be promotion of international peace and security. So 49 is talking about national importance monuments, and 50 is talking about separation of judiciary from executive. Highly important article is 50, because multiple times they have asked the question. Very important, very important. Separation of judiciary from executive. 51 is talking about promotion of international peace and security. That's it. Okay, these are all the articles which you have to remember. Okay, 48 to 51. 48 to 51. Now we are done with the articles. So 36 to 51 we are done with the articles. So today we started with what? 44 to 48A, okay, 44 to 48A, and also 49 to 50 and 51. 49 is national importance, monuments, objects, places of national importance. 49 is that only. 50 is talking about what? Separation of judiciary from executive. 51 is promotion of international peace and security. Got it? Next, we will see some amendments in DPSP. Okay. Why we have to do amendments? Because at the time of framing of the constitution, okay, the country's society and the needs and wishes of the people was different. But at present, our country's situation and needs and wishes of the people is different. From 1947 to 2025, there are a lot of changes in the composition of our society and thinking of the people, knowledge level of the people, education and economic interest of the people, and also health condition of the people. Because at present, we are having different types of health diseases. There is different types of diseases that are emerging. So now the laws need to be different, and also expenditure has also increased. So the laws also has to evolve. To make the laws evolving laws, there should be changes in the DPSPs also. So because of that, we started amending the constitution with respect to DPSP. So what are those amendments? Let us see. So several additional directive principles have been incorporated to the original list through various amendments. The new principles are as follows. So one is the 42nd Amendment Act of 1976. Whenever I talk of amendment, most of the time I will be repeating 42nd Amendment of 1976. That is why there were a lot of amendments in 42nd Amendment Act. That is why it is called as what? Mini Constitution. Okay, it was done during the Prime Ministership of whom? Indira Gandhi. You have to remember this also. Okay, 42nd Amendment Act, which is called as Mini Constitution, was under the Prime Ministership of whom? Indira Gandhi. Please remember this. So this is also called as Mini Constitution. Now 42nd Amendment Act, okay, under this what are all the articles that are incorporated? To secure opportunities for healthy development of children. Okay, Article 39 is talking about healthy development of children. 39 is talking about healthy development of children. Article 39A is talking about equal justice and free legal aid. Already we spoke about this. Article 39 is healthy condition of children. Next is 39A is free legal aid, equal justice and free legal aid. 39A is talking about that. Now 39D, what did we say? 39D also we spoke in the previous class. Equal pay for equal work. Be it a woman, be it a man, if they are doing same kind of work, they should be paid equally. Just because you are a man, you should not be paid 100. Just because you are a woman, you should not be paid 50. Equal pay for equal work. Okay, that is the meaning of Article 39D. 39A is talking about free legal aid. This has also been asked multiple times. This is a very important article. Okay, 39 is healthy development of children. 39A is free legal aid. Next, 42nd Amendment, the word for itself, you should understand. 42nd, 4 articles has been included. One is 39. 39 is safeguarding the healthy condition of children. That should be healthy condition for children. Then 39A is talking about free legal aid. 39A is talking about free legal aid. Next, 43A is participation of workers in management of industries. This has also been asked in various exams. This article is very important. This article has been asked in various exams. So whenever I say articles are important, in the constitution there is various articles. But when I say articles, please remember Article 12 to 51 highly important. Article 12 to 51 highly important. Okay, they will ask anywhere, from anywhere, Article 12 to 51, all articles are important. There are actually 395 to 400 articles as of now. You don't have to remember everything, that is not required. But I suggest you to remember Article 12 to 51. Already I have given the trick for 12 to 35, 36 to 51 also I have given the trick. So you have to remember. Now 39A is free legal aid. 43 is participation of workers in management of industries. 48A is talking about environment. That's it. So this is all about 42nd Amendment. So let us see 44th Amendment now. After 42nd, 44th was also passed in 1978. Okay, Article 38 to minimize inequalities in income, status, facilities and opportunities. That is Article 38, it is talking about minimizing inequalities. Article 38 is talking about minimizing inequalities. Okay, so 42 is talking about 4 articles. 44 is talking about 38 articles. 38 article is talking about what? Minimize inequalities. Okay, Article 38 I already told some other subject matter. Along with that you have to remember this. Okay, you will link to that and remember this. That is Article 38 is talking about minimize inequalities. Minimize inequalities. So for that what state should do? It should pass laws to reduce inequalities. Got it? So let us see some other amendments. So 44 and 42nd is done. Let us see some other amendments through which the directive principles have been amended and some new articles have been added. So here I told you earlier itself while I was talking about Article 45, this amendment has changed the subject matter of Article 45 and it made elementary education a fundamental right under Article 21A. So Article 45, I told you earlier it was talking about 0 to 14 years. After amendment, that is 86th Amendment Act of 2002, that is RTE Act. Okay, 86th Amendment Act of 2002, that is RTE Act, that is Right to Education Act. 86th Amendment 2002, you have to remember this, very important. Okay, this article highly important because it is talking about education. 86th Amendment Act of 2002, it is talking about education. 45th Amendment, 45th article, earlier it was talking about, while I was discussing 45th article in general, I told you earlier it was discussing about 0 to 14 years. Now it is talking only about 0 to 6 years, and 6 to 14 years it is removed and it is made as what? Fundamental rights under Article 21A. Okay, under Article 21A. So what is the amendment that is made to Article 45? Some of the part is removed from it. Some of the part is removed from it, that is 6 to 14 is removed. Only 0 to 6 is kept, that is early childhood care. 6 to 14, that is elementary education, is made a part of fundamental rights under Article 21A. Got it? So it is very important. Article 45, it is talking about education. Article 45, through amendment of 86th Amendment Act of 2002, some changes are made. Earlier it was talking about 0 to 14 years. Now there is a split. Okay, early childhood care 0 to 6 years is under 45, but 6 to 14 years, that is right to education, it is made a fundamental right under Article 21A. Through which amendment? Same amendment. Got it? That's it. Now coming to 97th Amendment Act of 2011. Okay, 97th Amendment of 2011. That is in 2011 they understood the importance of farmers forming an organization. Now also we have something called farmer producer organization, that is FPO. When we study economics you will understand that. FPO means so many farmer organizations will form a group and they will go to the government and they will say we want this much MSP for our goods. We have produced this much of rice, please provide this much as the price for our goods. They will demand. That is, if so many people go and tell, they will accept. Suppose if one of you go and talk about something, they will not accept. If 3 of you go and talk, they will accept. Correct? No, that is the meaning of, that is what you do today. That is the meaning of bargaining power will increase. That is the meaning of farmer producer organizations. Wake up. When you wake up and go and participate, what will happen? They will ensure that it is being done. So that is the meaning of making cooperative societies. They understood the need for cooperative societies in 97th Amendment Act of 2011. So 43B, that is 43B is talking about cooperative societies. Got it? So let me repeat again. 42nd Amendment, 4 articles. What are those 4 articles? 39, it is talking about development of children. Okay, children development. And 39A, 39A is talking about free legal aid. Okay, 39A is talking about free legal aid. And which article? Next, which article? 43A, it is management of industries, participation of workers in management of industries. 48A is environment. 48A is environment. Now 44th Amendment Act of 1978, it is talking about article, which article? 38. Okay, 39 is 46, 42 and 44 is talking about 38. 38 is minimize inequalities, that's all. Minimize inequalities. Now next article is talking about education, that is 86th Amendment Act of 2002, Article 44, some part was removed and made a fundamental right under Article 21A, that is 6 to 14 years. Next article is which one? Next article is 97th Amendment Act of 2011. It is talking about Article 43B, that is it is talking about cooperative societies, very important. It is talking about cooperative societies. Okay, 43A is by 42nd Amendment, then only participation of workers in management of industries. But in 2011, 43B came into force, that is what it is? It is talking about making of cooperative societies. That's it. Got it? So these are all the amendments. That is 1942, 42, not 42, sorry, it is 1976, 78, 2002 and 2011. Okay, what are the amendments? 42nd, 44, 86, 97. 86 and 97. Is it clear? These are all the articles you have to remember. Now let us discuss why directive principles are non-justifiable in nature. That is why you cannot tell the government please make these laws. Okay, definitely they will make the laws. You cannot go to the court. They have not made a law to provide me this thing. You cannot go to the court. Okay, why? You will understand. Because you have to go back to 1947 or 1950 when the commencement of the constitution took place, understand the state of the country at that time. Okay, at that time our economy was not that great. Okay, at that time you cannot say that ask the government to spend so much and so many things. So one of the reason is insufficient financial resources. The framers of the constitution made the nature of directive principles non-justifiable and legally non-enforceable because of the following reasons. That is why it is not enforceable, because financial resources, the nation lacked adequate financial resources to fully implement these principles at the time of drafting of the constitution. That is what I told. Beginning of the constitution, what happened? At that time we did not have sufficient funds. When you have funds only you can make laws. Okay, making laws is different, implementing is different. To implement you need funds. Okay, to implement you need funds means that time our GDP was very less. Our GDP was very less. So at that time we had financial resources was poor. Okay, for example, 200 years before the time of independence, our GDP was 25% of the world's GDP. Suppose in the world if 100 rupees is produced, 25 rupees was from India. Okay, was from India. But in 1947, the same thing, our GDP was at the rate of 2% or 2.5%. That is what happened if 100 rupees is produced, our situation was we were producing 2.5%. Okay, at that time US was producing 25%. Okay, US was producing even now in the world GDP, US GDP is almost 25%. Okay, China is 15%. China is 15%. Okay, ours is ranging from 6 to 7, 8 like that. Okay, still we are saying that we are overcrossing China, we will reach China, we will come over China. Like this we have been telling, we have been bluffing ourselves, our politicians are telling like that. But actually they are way ahead. Okay, we have so much to overcome. We have so much to overcome and so much to achieve if you have to overcome them. Only we can overcome in terms of population, not any other thing. Okay, but when it comes to development, they are way ahead. Simply they are lying us or they are fooling us, telling that we will overcome China. That's not yet possible. It will take some time. Of course we can do it, but it will take some time. So let us come to this discussion. So diversity and backwardness. So understand one thing, the laws which will be made will not be equally applicable to all, which will not be equally needed for all. Some law that is made will be likable by me, but it may not be likable to you. Okay, suppose a law is made where I need a centralized AC for everyone, but some of you may think that I am not comfortable with AC, I need only fans. Okay, that is the diversity we have. So when we see in a class itself we have so much diversity. So in a nation which has so many states and so many linguistic groups and so many type of people, you have to understand the diversity and then make the laws. Okay, the presence of immense diversity and socio-economic backwardness across the country pose significant challenges to their effective implementation. So first of all you have to apply them. Certain laws will be applied in certain parts of the country. If they are successful, then it will be spread to other parts of the country. They are called pilot projects. Pilot project means they will apply to certain districts. Ayushman Bharat also, certain schemes also will be applied to some districts or some states. If they are successful, they will spread to other states. Okay, that is the meaning of you have to understand the diversity and socio-economic interest. So for that we have to understand, undertake surveys. That is the main aim of census. It is not just collecting your data. Socio-economic and caste census is also there. They are collecting the economic interest of the people. So for that it takes time. So after that only you can frame policies. If you have the data of the people regarding various things, then only you can frame policies. Then only after collecting data only you will get what is the MMR rate, that is maternal mortality rate, what is the infant mortality rate, all these things you get. Then only as per that you can allocate funds. Then only you can make schemes like Ayushman Bharat. Simply you cannot make. Got it? Now based on the how many children, how many infant girls, how many fetus are being killed or whatever, based on that only you can make, to ensure that the women are empowered, you can make some schemes like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. All these schemes are there based on the data itself. Directly you cannot make. Okay, so you need some time, you need some financial resources. So directly you cannot enforce the DPSPs. That was one of the reason. Burdens some responsibilities of the newly independent state. The newly established independent state and numerous pressing priorities and enforcing these principles could potentially overwhelm its capacities. That is, when the state, that is India state was formed in 1950 after independence, after constitution was framed. Okay, if you try to implement so many laws at one time, okay, understand one thing, if you try to do too many things at one time, it is actually meaning that you are doing nothing. If you try to do too many things in a day, suppose you try to study too many subjects in one day, it is like as if you are studying nothing. Okay, you cannot give focus to anything. So if you try to implement DPSPs, they are very vast. Okay, these articles were very limited as you see, but each article can be interpreted in very different ways. If you try to implement all of the laws at once, what will happen? You cannot focus on each of them. That means you are over exceeding your capacities, and at the same time it will lead to a broken state. We cannot implement all of this because we may not have funds. So that was the reason DPSPs are not made enforceable. Even now we cannot make it enforceable. Got it? Whatever the priorities of the state is there, based on that we can enforce DPSPs. We cannot approach the court for not implementing DPSPs. Got it? This is the reason it is not enforceable. Next thing. This you have to just remember the cases, that's all is enough. Now there is a conflict between DPSPs and also fundamental rights, that is which is greater, okay, whether fundamental right is greater or DPSPs are greater in the constitution. Fundamental rights is talking about individuals and also individual groups or something. DPSPs is talking about actually the state, okay, who is greater, okay, there was so much tussle between fundamental rights and DPSPs. Based on that, let us see what are all the cases that are there. Just understand, I will say certain cases which are important, apart from that no need to worry about that. So in Champaran Dorarajan case, it's a state of Madras. Champaran Dorarajan case, state of Madras, Supreme Court ruled that in an event of conflict between fundamental rights and directive principles, the fundamental rights would prevail. That is, first of all remember CD, that is Champaran Dorarajan. What it says? Fundamental rights is greater than DPSP. Fundamental rights is greater than DPSP. Next case. Okay, all these things no need to worry. Golaknath versus state of Punjab, 1967. The Supreme Court held that fundamental rights could not be amended by the Parliament even for the implementation of DPSPs. Okay, however, it was contradictory to its own judgment. The Shankari Prasad, this thing. That is, in Golaknath case. In Golaknath case, what it said is fundamental rights is almost equal to DPSP. Fundamental rights is almost equal, they are almost equal. That means you cannot amend fundamental rights just to implement DPSPs. Okay, so fundamental rights and DPSPs are almost equal. Okay, but here it is against this judgment. It is against this judgment. Okay, in Champaran Dorarajan said, what it said? Fundamental rights is greater than DPSP. In Golaknath said case, what it said? Fundamental rights are almost equal to DPSP. It did not say in same words. I am telling for your simple understanding. Okay. Fundamental rights cannot be amended to implement DPSPs is what Golaknath case it said. Okay, fundamental rights cannot be amended to implement DPSPs. You have to go through this, each of the statement, understand. Next thing, next case, Keshavananda Bharati case versus state of Kerala. In this case, it declared that Parliament can amend any part of the constitution but cannot alter basic structure of the constitution. This is very important case. Okay, in this case, it said, Keshavananda Bharati case, what it said is, Supreme Court said that you can amend any part of the constitution including the fundamental rights, but you should not alter the basic structure. You should not alter the basic structure is what it said in Keshavananda Bharati case. Okay, it did not talk about whether fundamental rights is greater or DPSP is greater. It is telling you can amend anything, even DPSP you can amend, fundamental rights also you can amend, but basic structure should not be altered. Don't touch the basic structure. That's all it said. Now, after the judgment, the right to property article 31 was deleted from the list of the fundamental rights. So, through which case article 31 was deleted? Article 31 was deleted through Keshavananda Bharati case. Actually, it is through which amendment? Which amendment? Article 42nd amendment, through 42nd amendment it was removed. But in which case actually it was decided? In Keshavananda Bharati case. This also you should remember. When it comes to fundamental rights, I told you in the beginning there were 7, one was removed in the 42nd Amendment Act, but through which judgment? Keshavananda Bharati case. Okay, again and again we will revisit the case. Okay, throughout the polity we will come and discuss about this case itself. Okay, this is a very important judgment. Okay, this case gave us what is basic structure. Okay, so Keshavananda Bharati case. Now, Minerva Mills case. Okay, in this case Supreme Court affirmed that Parliament can amend any part of the constitution but cannot change the basic structure. In Minerva Mills case, what it is saying? What it said in Keshavananda Bharati case? Same itself, it is saying. Okay, Champaran Dorarajan case, fundamental rights is greater. When it comes to Golaknath case, they are almost equal. Keshavananda Bharati case, basic structure. Minerva Mills case, basic structure. Okay, next let us see other cases. Now, therefore, the present position is that fundamental rights enjoy supremacy. That means you can amend any fundamental rights, okay, but this does not mean the directive principles cannot be implemented. The Parliament can amend fundamental rights to implement a DPSP so long as the amendment does not damage the basic structure. So, what does it mean is, So whenever I said fundamental rights can be amended, whenever I said that fundamental rights can be amended, but you should not touch the basic structure, that means fundamental rights is gaining supremacy. That is, fundamental rights is gaining supremacy. That is, whenever I was talking about basic structure, you can even amend fundamental rights. Fundamental rights does not form the part of basic structure. Fundamental rights also you can amend, but you should not touch the basic structure. That means what? They are gaining supremacy over DPSP. So final position is what? Fundamental rights are supreme when it comes to DPSP. With respect to DPSP, fundamental rights are supreme. But that does not mean that DPSPs are not important. They are also important. You can implement the DPSPs, but the rights of the people are important. So final position is what? Fundamental rights are about DPSP, but these are also important. That's all. You have to remember this. Fundamental rights are supreme when it comes to DPSPs. When you compare fundamental rights and DPSP, fundamental rights are supreme. But that does not mean that this you have to ignore. You have to take care of this and implement the laws. That is the final thing you have to understand. Okay, got it? That's it. Next, implementation of DPSP related acts. Okay, implementation of DPSP related acts means already I have discussed when discussing each of these things. Okay, so first thing is land to the landless, land reforms was made. Next thing is labor reforms. Labor reforms means I told you equal pay for equal work, living wages, okay, and also human conditions of work. To ensure that various acts was passed. One is, what is it? Minimum Wages Act, Contract Labor, Bonded Labor Act, all these things were passed. You don't have to remember this. Okay, how it is implemented I am telling, through the acts. Next is Panchayat Raj system. To organize village panchayat was present in Article 40. But Panchayat Raj came through which article? Which amendment? It came through which amendment? 73rd amendment. 73rd amendment, panchayats came. We will discuss panchayats and municipalities as a separate chapter. Okay, just remember that panchayats came through 73rd amendment. Okay, and it implemented Article 40, that is village panchayats. The word itself says panchayat. Next is cottage industries. That also is 43, Article 43. To promote cottage industry as per Article 43. Got it? That is management of, that is participation of workers in the management of industries. Okay, Article 43 is talking about what? Living conditions for worker, living wages for workers, all these things. Now, education, right to education and rural area development, so many acts were implemented. Manrega, that is Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, that is to economic interest. I told you in one of the article, you have to promote the SC and ST education interest and also economic interest. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, that is providing employment, that is for 100 days of work for manual labor, that is unskilled work. These are all the acts that are provided. And also environment reforms, Wildlife Protection Act, Forest Conservation Act, so many things I already told you. Okay, all these things while discussing the articles itself, I told you. Now, that's all about DPSP. Now coming to Article 49 of the Indian Constitution. Okay, I told you Article 49 is talking about what? Protection of monuments. So, Heritage Monuments Protection Act, that is given in Article 49. For that, to protection of monuments also one act was passed, that is what the act is saying. So, you don't have to remember all of this. While discussing the articles itself, I just told you what are all the things, what are all the laws that are being made by the government to implement DPSPs. Those examples are this one. Okay, just go through this like how you go through a magazine, just go through it. Okay, don't have to remember or cram any of this. But whatever I have told you, that you remember, that's enough. Okay, now let us solve the questions again. So that's all about DPSPs. We are done with DPSP. Okay, we are done with very important parts of the Indian polity. Fundamental rights is done and also DPSP is done, and also we have discussed which is supreme, fundamental rights and DPSP. Fundamental rights is supreme, but at the same time don't ignore DPSPs. Now let us solve some questions coming to DPSP which we have done previously. Directive principles of state policy, this we have done, these are also done. Equal pay for equal work, 39D. Uniform Civil Code, 34. Okay. Educational interest of weaker section. Educational interest of weaker section. See, 47. 46 is talking about which article? Which article? See, Article 44 is Uniform Civil Code. Article 45 is education. After education, it is talking about what? 46, 45 is talking about early childhood care. Okay, 46 is talking about what? 46 is talking about what? Production of economic interest and educational interest of weaker section. 46 or which one? Just let us check. Yes, wait, let's wait. Okay, 46 is fine. So 47 is nutrition. Okay, so don't get confused. 46 is SCST, 47 is nutrition. Got it? Fine. 47 is nutrition, 46 is, let us see, SCSTs. So 45 is early childhood care. Okay, 46 is what? 46 is talking about what? 46 is talking about SCST. 47 is nutrition and public health. 48 is what? Agriculture and animal husbandry. 48A is environment. That's it. Okay, so 46 is SCST. Now, prohibition of intoxicating drinks is mentioned under which article? Hmm? 47 is talking about which article? Nutrition and public health. So here only intoxicating drugs also comes. Okay, which is not talking about health. So this is related to health. Okay, organization of village panchayat, article 40. Which directive? Separation of judiciary? Article 50. Okay, article 50. Now, welfare state. Okay, DPSP started by 42nd Amendment Act. Which were the DPSP that was started by 42nd Amendment Act? 48. 48 AS was added to 42nd Amendment Act. Free legal aid 39A. Free legal aid is 39A. Promotion of cotton industries is 43. Promotion of cotton industry, cottage industry very important, 43, because it is Gandhian principle. Cottage industries is Gandhian principle. 40 is organization of village panchayat, Gandhian principle. They will ask cottage industries, article 43, very important. Article 43 is cottage industries. Next, living wage and decent standard of living for workers. Living wage is spoken by which article? Living wage is also spoken by 43 itself. So living wage, decent standard of living, and also cottage industries. Okay, same article is talking about many things. That's why I told you each of the article is very broad. Okay, that's why implementing becomes very difficult. So 43 is talking about living wages also. 46 is talking about living decent standard of living and also cottage industries. And 43A is management of industries. 43B is cooperative societies. Environment 48A. Principle promotes international peace and security 51. 51. Okay. Directive principles of how many category? 3 categories. Which of the following is the directive principle of Gandhian directive principle? Organization of village panchayats. Okay. So that's all. We are done with directive principles of state policy. In the next class, we will be talking about article 51A, that is part 4A, that is nothing but fundamental duties. Very important. Fundamental duties, it will be done in one session itself. Okay, we will finish that and then we will move to central government. We will start with president. Okay, then we will go to state government. Parallelly, we will go to state government. Okay, then we will be talking about parliament. What are the bodies about parliament, Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, what are the sessions of the parliament, all these things. Okay, then we will go to judiciary. Okay, I hope you liked it. Please revise again and again. Okay, let's meet in tomorrow's session. I will wind up now. Thank you. Take care.